Hey there, Jeremy Forcier, CrossCountry Mortgage. Hope this finds you well. And let's address something that is coming up with me on a daily basis with clients, real estate agents, consumers alike, about what's going on in the housing market. And we're having more inventory. Are we seeing a huge price correction? And I wanted to just create a video that was going to break down the realities and focus on the facts and the figures as to what's going on in the market. And that way we can have great conversations with consumers. And if you're a consumer, you can be armed with great information on how to use this when you're looking at purchasing a home right now. So first things first is that supply and demand has been around since the dawn of time. If you have more supply than you do demand for any product, typically that would create prices to go lower. And on the flip side, if you were to have more demand than you do supply, that would increase prices. Now, when we look at what's going on with housing demand, we first have to look at what's called household formations. So all household formations means is that people that are, let's think about kids. If you have an adult child graduates from high school, graduates from college, and they decide that they're going to go out on their own, and whether they rent or whether they buy, they're going to move out of their current housing shared situation and move out on their own. That's what a household formation definition is when we look at from a real estate standpoint in the economy. So you can see right now that we're at about 1.417 million annualized new household creations, people going out and from a current living situation and going out on their own, whether that is someone that's a first-time home buyer, first-time renter, whether that's someone getting divorced and it goes from a shared living situation to now creating another new household and not living with that other individual anymore. So right now we're at about 1.417 million. That is still above the average household formations going all the way back to 2005. So it's important to know that there is still many more household formations going on in the marketplace here in the US. And once again, this is regardless if they're going to rent or if they're going to buy, but it's important to understand what household formation means. It doesn't mean just having kids, okay? It means people that are going to enter the real estate market, whether as renters or whether as buyers, and what that looks like on an annualized rate. Now, the second thing that's important to understand is housing supply. And the media, oftentimes, it's not that they're trying to confuse us, but it's the way that the information is provided to us that sometimes isn't true or doesn't make sense because we don't dig deep enough into it. So new housing supply specifically references to new housing starts, meaning new construction. So building permits, people that are building apartment buildings for rental, or a new development of a subdivision that are going to be available for purchase. So right now we have housing starts at right around 1.7 million annualized across the nation. Now, where it says destroyed annually, all that means is that about 100,000 homes on average per year are retired, whether that's knocked down and they're turned into something else, or whether that is a hurricane or something removes those houses from the supply chain. Okay, so we have a decrease of about 100,000 a year. Well, that would mean that a total new supply of things being created, not yet done and available to move into or to purchase is right around 1.6 million annualized. Well, when you look at new housing demand, we talked about household formations. There's about 1.4 million new household formations happening. Well, when you just look at it from that standpoint, you think, oh, well, that means that more supply is available than demand. So it looks like there's an apparent surplus of homes of 200,000. But once again, those homes aren't available yet. So when we look at housing starts that are completed, which is really what we need to focus on, homes that are available to rent and or purchase, it's about 1.3 million annualized. And then once again, we take out the homes that are no longer going to be available for anyone to live in, about 100,000. So the total new annualized supply of homes that will be ready to be moved into, et cetera, actually is 1.2 million. So if household formations is at 1.4 million per year, we actually have a deficit still right now in the US of about 200,000 homes that we're behind by. So it's really important to understand the actual information of supply and demand and not just focus on what's being forecasted out that isn't available to actually use right now. It's like saying that you'd like to order a hamburger, but there's not a hamburger available on the menu yet. You can't eat it if it's not available. Same goes with the housing supply. Now, how does record low existing home inventory play into this? Well, right now we are at all-time lows on it from an inventory standpoint. And what we see in the media and what I'm getting a lot of questions about from all different types of people are, hey, it looks like inventory is really spiking up. It's really increasing. Well, I showed a chart here for you from 2018 all the way to today. And what you see here in all of these areas is that from the beginning of the year, okay, through summer, spring and summertime, you are going to see existing home inventory always increase. Okay, so this is a seasonal thing that happens regardless of what's going on in the market with interest rates, et cetera. You see that every single springtime inventory goes up. Now, why is that? Well, lots of people like to sell their homes in a time where the weather is going to be nicer, their home is going to show better. They can do improvements to it before without having to deal with rain, snow, et cetera. Number two is that many people that have kids and families are looking to make a move so that they can move and start at a new school, for example, not wanting to move in the middle of a school year and uproot their children. So that's why we see a large spike of inventory always, okay, in the spring and early summer months. Now, even with this spike of increase, you can see that we're only at 1.03 million. So about 1 million homes of existing home inventory available. That is extremely low when you look at the last 4 years, extremely low. Now, in conjunction with that, let's unpackage the actual numbers of existing home inventory, because just because it says there's 1 million homes available, it's not true. And I'll show you why. Okay, existing homes inventory is at 1 million. Under contract, though, that means homes that are on the market, that's still considered existing inventory because they haven't closed yet, but they're under contract, meaning someone is purchasing it right now, it just hasn't closed, is 600,000. That's 60% of the homes right now are under contract, meaning they will close at some point in time, typically in the next 30 days. Active listings, so this is the actual inventory. If we take out all the homes that we know are going to sell, is only at 400,000. So we're actually only at a real inventory number of 400,000 homes available outside of the 1 million that is being marketed to us saying there's 1 million homes available. It's really just 400,000. Now, when we look at active existing home listings in the US and we look at it over time as well, this chart was made back since 2016. You'll see, as I said, we're here, okay? We're at the lowest of all time. And you can also see that right now, only 40% of the homes that are active listings are actually available. If we compare that to 75% of the homes back in June of 2016 weren't under contract yet, we can see that we have a huge demand still for homes. Okay, so right now we only have 40% that are existing listings available. And we compare that back to in June 2016, 75% of those homes were available. So even with this slight increase in inventory, it doesn't mean that we're in the middle of a huge market shift from a price scenario standpoint. Now, are we going to see price reductions? Of course, every market's a little bit different, but usually most of the price reductions are sellers that are being unrealistic, thinking that things should still be 10% higher than the last sale in their neighborhood, for example. So yes, things have changed. Yes, we can't deny that interest rates does play a part into it. But if there is significant demand that is going to outpace supply, it doesn't really matter if interest rates even were to continue to go up. People are going to purchase homes. We're just moving towards a more normalized market, which we haven't been used to for the last 2.5 years. So it's very, very important to know that we still have huge inventory issue, even with interest rates and demand waning just a little bit from a price standpoint. Higher mortgage payments, higher prices, that does make a certain segment of the market pull back. Now, this is really important just to tie a bow on it, is that we don't talk about vacancy rates oftentimes. Now, vacancy rates is usually what leads primarily to significant corrections in the market from a real estate price standpoint. So think of vacancy rates as I own 2 houses and one of them is a rental, and that rental is vacant. And now I'm having to carry 2 mortgages. So I want to sell that place and I'm willing to lower the price until I can sell it so I can get rid of it and not have to make those 2 mortgage payments. Well, we can see here that the vacancy rate back in 06, 07 2008, this is when we, had the significant correction, was at 3.2% nationally. So that means that 3% of all the homes available were just not occupied, period. That's a big number. Well, right now we're at literally 0.80%. Okay, so this is less reason even to support that prices are just going to plummet, because vacancy rates are at all-time lows, meaning the most amount of people are occupying all the properties that are available. That inherently also creates demand, because there's just not enough available right now. So I know this is a competitive market, it's a complex market, but it's not a crazy market. It's competitive, it's complex, and it's really important that we focus on what the facts are so that we can make great decisions moving forward. If you have any questions at all or need anything whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. Jeremy Forcier, CrossCountry Mortgage. Hope you're having a great day. Take care.